Good morning, or good afternoon, I should say. Wild Rocket is here with you from Japan. I've been really inspired recently by many things in life, by um, Japanese culture, my continued process of growth and development in this culture and environment, learning about Japan, and also sort of through and also integrating with the different parts of myself from the kind of from my British upbringing, from my Syrian upbringing, from my upbringing, and from my existence as an infinite being, as a human being having a unique spiritual and metaphysical uh, and very kind of open-ended experience on this planet. Um, I was reading a very interesting article, a very interesting review, as a matter of fact, of a book of a book of a spiritual sort of psychological book that also deals with sort of God forms and godlike forms and godlike divine ways of being in the world. And there was a very interesting diagram which sort of outlined a kind of flow of process, a flow of being, which we can call the intuitive consciousness. And this intuitive consciousness is kind of like your presence, your way of being, as it sort of as it uh, as it alternates between two realms or two spheres. The first is what's called the ordinary terrain, and the second is what's called the numinous realm. Now, numinous realm basically means divine realm, and I will in fact call it in basic going through these steps and explaining what each means. I will actually call the numinous realm the divine realm, because as fascinating a word as numinous as fascinating a word as numinous is, and I looked up the word numinous, and I believe it's Latin derived. It's derived from the Latin word for the divine. I literally did not know what the word numinous meant till about 3 days ago, so I'll call it the divine because I think that's it makes a bit more it's a bit more, one can relate to it a little bit better this way. So I'll go through each step and then briefly describe how I feel each one, what I feel each step of the steps within the ordinary terrain and each step within the divine realm represents for me. And I hope that anyone who's watching this, who's also going on a spiritual journey or who's also working on becoming a better version of themselves, will derive something from this and be inspired to discover higher vibrational modes of being in the world that brings out their best qualities. Because we all want to live in a way that brings out our best qualities and helps us tap into the true nature, the wide, expansive, multi-dimensional nature of who we are. So I'll start with ordinary terrain, and I thought this was really fascinating. I'm starting to pay more attention to numbers recently. The ordinary terrain consists of 7 steps, and the divine realm consists of also 7 steps, so together that's 14. And for me this is very powerful because 7 is a highly divine and highly powerful number in my own life. It's always been the number which I regarded as the most salutary, as the most health promoting, as the most healing number, as a number which is a numerical form which always triggered within me a bodily felt sense of harmony, of 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 integrative harmony, of love, of compassion, of understanding, of infinite forgiveness. 7 is a very powerful number for me. I highly value it very much. So once I saw that each step, or that each realm consists of 7 steps, totaling 14, that divisibility and that sort of that kind of definition, I should say, really inspired me. So I'll go through each step now and give you my personal interpretation of each. So the ordinary terrain. There are 7 steps as listed in this diagram in the ordinary terrain, and they can be seen, I suppose, you can see them as each building on the next in a hierarchy, or you can see them all within a sort of web. I like to see them as both. The first step is the dual awareness. Now, the dual awareness is the most fundamental way of being in which you're going about your day, and you become aware of the fact that situations and events around you can be seen in more than one way. You can have a different perspective on a situation in which you're living, and that's quite, and that's a really enlightening realization to have. The second step is imaginative witnessing. Imaginative witnessing, for me, is looking at an event or being inspired by a thought or idea or a memory, and imagining and allowing your creativity to start to blossom from it, to imagine what it would be like if the memory led to a new event, or the memory or an idea blossomed in a certain way, once enjoyed with other people in a certain way. So imaginative witnessing, really about letting your creative body and your creative mind flow around this witnessing event. The third, this is really, really fascinating, is deep democracy. Deep democracy. Now, this is not the first time I've come across the term deep democracy. Arnold Mindell, the Jungian psychotherapist, also talked about this notion of deep democracy as sort of like collaborative decision making at the most micro level, at the most symptomatic level. That's really interesting. Well, that, to kind of make it a bit simpler for anyone watching this, is democracy which involves people working together based on what they're going through, what they're personally going through, psychologically and physically, and taking into account the bodily symptoms at each display. And that doesn't have to necessarily mean sickness. It can also mean just your mood, the symptoms of your mood. Are you happy, sad, angry? Deep democracy, collaborative decision making at the most symptomatic level. Fascinating stuff. 4 is healing. Now, healing is the first step towards allowing love to manifest within your heart. Healing is when you work with the damaged self, the damaged voices, the hurt voices, and you allow from these damaged voices the full nature of the damaged voices as they are in you to speak as they truly are, to allow them to be as they are, unfiltered, uncensored, without judgment, without any form of censorship. Healing is a way in which not only can we repair our damaged voices by allowing them full fruition to manifest, to embrace and then to re-anoint them with love, with compassion, to re-anoint your entire being and all that you've been through in the past and all the suffering you've been through with love and forgiveness. But then also healing becomes a way for you to extend that out onto others, so you can inspire others to heal themselves by sharing your journey and sort of giving practical steps as to how people can heal themselves. So 5 is the jester, the joker, although he or she who finds absurdity or humor in otherwise serious situations. This is vital, because this really is sort of a hallmark. This is a sort of trademark of what makes human beings so divine and so unique as a species, is our ability to laugh, to smile. This is very unique to the species, and I think that human beings are phenomenal, and human existence is phenomenal because we can find humor within all sorts of situations, be they serious situations, neutral situations, frenetic, high-paced situations, calm situations, as well as more clearly funny situations. the jester. You know, he is the joker. He or she, you know, who makes fun and who makes light and who brings light and who brings the light of the kind of joy of life into otherwise serious situations. 6 is inspiration. Inspiration is sort of the fundamental blueprint of creativity, of human expression at its purest form. Inspiration is the ability to be amazed and to really absorb energy from others, from the creation of others, through a realization of the creative potential within yourself, through being exposed to the creation of others, through the ideas of others, through the words of others. Number 6, inspiration. 7 is the loyal ally. Now there are 2 very powerful triggers which went off in me when I read the loyal ally. The first was making yourself your best friend, making yourself your most loyal and your most faithful soldier in this quest called life. Being with yourself, being kind and tolerant with yourself, allowing yourself to experience and feel all the range of emotions and sensations that you came on this planet to experience, and to do so with a sense of solidarity, alliance. You know, terms alliance and solidarity very often occur in political activism spheres, but I think they can be equally applied to the journey of the human spirit as well. The loyal ally. And the second powerful association is the loyal ally we find in others when we connect with people who remind us of ourselves, people who share the same interests, the same passions, and who are interested in this, who have the similar mission on this earth. And through sharing with them your experiences and through finding connections and parallels, we become our loyal allies. So 7, the loyal ally. Okay. So this is the ordinary. This is the ordinary terrain. Now I do want to keep these videos quite short, and so before I go into the divine, I will put a stop on this video and make a separate video for the divine realm, because I know going through these steps I'm going to end up perhaps getting into territory which would make this specific video a bit longer than I had intended it. So I will call this the ordinary terrain path of intuitive consciousness. This has been Wild Rocket with you. I will see you in part 2 very, very soon with the divine realm. God bless you, peace be with you, and may you all achieve all that you came here to achieve. I love you very much. Take care for now.